Hey, welcome to Cyber Skills Live. My name's Daniel, I'm an engineer and I'm interested in all things tech and security. You're joining us for this special Cyber Scotland Week event. Cyber Scotland Week is all about making Scotland a more cyber resilient and cyber aware country. At today's session, you're going to get hands-on and learn cybersecurity skills in this interactive activity. Our digital world is powered by technology. From exchanging messages to turning on the lights, we rely on tech every day. And it's easy to forget the impact that it has over our lives, and it's super important that we protect it. In fact, in Scotland, for every 2 jobs in the area, there's only 1 applicant, so that means there'd be a huge opportunity for you to have an interesting career. We need more people with digital skills to help make us more resilient against cyber attacks. Today, I'm joined by Craig and Kirsty. Hi Craig, welcome.
Thanks Daniel. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on Cyber Scotland Week. There is a wide range of careers in the cybersecurity sector in Scotland. And technology skills are really important and valuable, but it's not just a career for techies. There are different options for different people. There are jobs in marketing, digital forensics, legal, project management and more. It goes across all sectors and skills. It really is a career option for anyone. We're coming to you today from a telephone exchange in the Isle of Mull. Well, not really, from our secret digital den here in Glasgow. And today there's almost 1,000 of you signed up for the lesson. We're also lucky to have Kirsty along to answer some questions. So hello Kirsty.
Thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Kirsty. I'm the Cyber Resilience Community Lead at the Scottish Business Resilience Centre. So my role is to help Scottish organisations improve their cyber resilience through a range of educational and engagement activities. So I work quite closely with Police Scotland and the Scottish Government so that I can share the latest information about scams, news, threats, all to do with cyber resilience and cyber security topics. So thank you everybody for joining us in the live lesson today. We have people joining right across the country and worldwide, which is really exciting. And I can see quite a lot of you here signing in already to take part in the lesson. So we have people from Braes High School, Clydebank High School, McLaren High School, New College Lanarkshire, Oban High School, Stirling High School, Uddingston Grammar School, West Lothian College. Also, we've got 2 universities joining us today, so thank you. University of Sunderland and Curtin University in Western Australia. That's quite exciting. That's a long way away. So thank you so much for joining our lesson today. And hello to some of our international players as well. So Red River College in Winnipeg, Canada. Hi there. Thank you for joining us. And Botswana Accountancy College from Southern Africa. Welcome, enjoy the lesson. Thank you so much for being involved today. So if you're tweeting along with us today, you can send a message to us using the hashtag CyberSkillsLive and @DigitalWorldHQ is the tag. And this lesson is part of Cyber Scotland Week too. So there's the Cyber Scotland Week hashtag, which is hashtag CSW 2021, so get tagging us there. And I will be back shortly during the lesson to answer some of your questions. But for now, it's back to Craig and Daniel.
Today, you're going to become digital detectives and see if you can use your digital skills to work out how a data leak happened. Our activity is based on a real-life job role, a digital forensics analyst.
Tobermory Telecom are investigating a potentially significant data breach on their website. The phone and broadband provider, which has over 150,000 customers, said banking details and personal information could have been accessed. We know that potentially all of their customers could be affected, but it's too early to know what data has been stolen. An infamous cybercriminal group have claimed responsibility for the leak. Your job today is to use digital forensics to investigate how the leak happened. There's 3 things to find out. Is the leak genuine? How serious is it? Who is responsible? It's time to get started. Get ready to learn about digital forensics as you start the investigation.
Sounds like we've got quite the situation on our hands, a data leak to investigate over at Tobermory Telecoms. What you need to do now is go to cyberskillslesson.com and follow the instructions. Click how to spot a data leak and start the activity. Tobermory Telecoms, is that who provides your broadband, Craig?
Thankfully not. The activity that we're doing today is going to work in any modern web browser. So you want to open up Google Chrome or Firefox or Edge and make sure you're on cyberskillslesson.com, and you'll see at the very top of the page how to spot a data leak, because that's what we're doing today. You're going to click onto that and press start, and then once that loads up, you're going to follow the instructions on the screen. We can see some of you are already starting to take part in signing in, and as part of that you'll be able to choose your school. So try and find your school in the list, and if it's not there, don't worry, just choose my group isn't listed and enter in your first name as well. It's going to work no matter, even if your group isn't listed there. So Daniel, we've got a lot of people already starting to join us this morning. Tell me a bit more, like, what is a data leak and what does that mean for the company and its customers?
Yeah, sure. So a data leak or a data breach is where personal information has been leaked online. So this has happened to some of the biggest companies and organizations in the world. And one way that it can happen is if a cyber criminal manages to break into or hack into a computer system, and then they steal the database that has all this information in it. But also, it could happen by accident because a database hasn't been properly protected and then someone just stumbles across it. Either way, it's really serious. Data leaks contain information about customers and real people, so that's just people like you and I. So the things that these data leaks can contain can be things like real names, email addresses, or contact information, but sometimes even more sensitive things like passwords or home addresses have been stolen by cyber criminals. In recent years, we've had companies like Facebook, Uber, Nintendo, and Sony PlayStation Network all affected by data breaches.
Thanks for that, Daniel. So we're lucky then because you're going to be all working as digital forensic specialists, and you're going to help us track down the source of this data breach. And we asked you if you know that you've been involved in a data breach, and your answers are starting to come in just now, Daniel.
Yeah, we can take a look at them just over here. So it looks like about a quarter of the people who have answered this question have said that they have been involved in a data breach. They definitely know that. About a third of people don't know if they've been involved in a data breach, and about a third of people are saying that they haven't been.
That's great. Thank you for answering these questions. Keep going through this as we take part. If you are tweeting today and you want to share how you're getting on, you can tweet us using @DigitalWorldHQ. And there's also the hashtag because, like I said, it's Cyber Scotland Week this week. So CSW 2021 and Cyber Skills Live.
So today, Rebecca Reid, she's the Chief Security Officer over at Tobermory Telecoms. She's leading the investigation today. She's very experienced, she's excellent. And she says that the broadband provider has over 150,000 customers. That's a huge amount of people. And apparently, a cyber criminal hacker group, the so-called Tobermory Warriors, have claimed that they've stolen Tobermory Telecom's customer database and released it online.
Oh no, not the so-called Tobermory Warriors. Well, they've got a history of this type of cyber attack. They were the ones that were responsible for the attack on Scotia Rail. However, having said that, they've also claimed to have attacked other people in the past, people like Alba Airways. But when the forensic analysts looked at their investigation of that, it turned out it was faked. The database wasn't actually the customer's database. They hadn't hacked it at all.
Yeah, this is actually kind of common, Craig. It's a bit like a competition with these criminal groups. they all want to carry out the worst cyber attacks. So they'll sometimes make up attacks, or they'll claim that they've done things that wasn't actually them that had done. So we don't want to cause panic. Let's make sure the leak's genuine before we kind of move forward with the investigation. That's the first step. Is it genuine? Is this data real? That's what we want to know first.
So you're going to follow the instructions on the screen, and you're going to try and find out if this leaked database is really our database. Has it been stolen or leaked from our system? So you're going to work on that now. I can already see on our activity dashboard, Daniel, that there's hundreds of you playing, and we're going through these activities right now.
Yeah, in fact, shall we take a look at that dashboard, Craig?
Yes.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
So Adam from St Columba's, thanks for taking part. Natalie from McLaren, thanks.
Yep, I can see that Fraser at Prestwick has identified the broadband package. So they've been looking at one of these records and looking at the information that it contains.
Anna from Stirling High School, you're currently looking at the database structure. That's brilliant. Fraser from Stirling High School also looking through the software versions. Brilliant.
See that Bonnie's looking at the database structure as well, and the database structure is actually a really useful indicator, and it's one of the most important things that we look at, because if the Tobermory warriors have fabricated it, if they've just made up this database and pretending that it's real, we wouldn't expect them to know what the real database looks like and what information's included in what order the fields are in. So if those match up, if the leaked database is the same structure as the one that's kept, the real one internally, then that's a really good indication that this could be serious and it could be genuine.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that people are doing just now, I can see from the activity, is they've looked at the structure of the database, but they're also looking at what software was used to create the database as well. And we know that this was created using an old piece of software, an old version of a piece of software, and it's very specific about it as well. And what that means is it's unlikely that someone outside the organisation, like the cyber criminals, they probably wouldn't know exactly what version of software we were using. So we need to look at the database file and say, okay, has it been built? Has it been made using that version number? Because that's not something that you would just be able to guess. That if it's the same, that's probably a good indicator that this really is our leaked file.
Yeah, and in fact, just on that topic, I can see that Karen and Liam are saying it is the same version of that software that they're reporting back, and more people are saying that too. I can see some people at Stirling have been reporting that it's the same version of MySQL, and it's the same version and it's the same structure too. So this is sounding quite serious, Craig.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, realistically, if it is the same structure and it is the same version number, I think the chances are it probably is our leaked database. It probably is genuinely being leaked. So the next thing we need to think about then is, well, how serious is it? Like, how much trouble is Rebecca in? How much trouble are we all in as well?
Yep, so there's a couple things that we kind of need to think about here is, well, how much information is being released about each customer, but also how many people is there? Because if it's only 10 people, that's a much smaller group of people. It's kind of contained. Whereas if this is in the tens of thousands of people, that's a serious incident, especially if it contains some of this more sensitive stuff that can be included in a data leak. Yeah,
could be quite worrying, but this is exactly why people need to be doing this type of job, because that's how it's going to prepare them to, it basically helps us assess how bad it is and what we need to do next as well. Can we have a quick look at the dashboard again and see how people are getting on, Daniel?
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, Dylan's just spotted personal information in the leaked database at James Young. Emmett at Columba's, the same spotted personal information.
I can see Rory as well. You've spotted personal information. While there's hundreds of you taking part right now, and it's all coming up on our screens. Eva from St Columba's High School, you've identified the broadband package. And I can actually also tell you that I can see a lot of people are just joining the activity as well. Don't worry, you can still take part. Just make sure you go to cyberskillslesson.com and you can take part in the activity as well. Daniel, while people work through this, I'm thinking maybe Kirsty could tell us a bit about perhaps Cyber Scotland Week or answer a question, something like that.
Yeah, Kirsty, are you ready to take a question? Or, in fact, why don't you tell us about Cyber Scotland Week? Just wait a second. Yeah, we got the thumbs up. Over to you, Kirsty.
Thank you. Yeah, this live lesson today is exciting because it's part of Cyber Scotland Week. Cyber Scotland Week is a week-long festival of events helping to improve organisations and individuals' cyber awareness. So the week started on Monday and it goes right through to Sunday, and there's over, I think, 130 events happening throughout the week, which is amazing. So there's three kind of areas that the week focuses on, which is to increase people's cyber awareness, learn about the sort of innovation that's happening in cyber security, so are people creating new products or exciting things, and the last one is about discovering a career in cyber security. So there is, like I said, lots of people getting involved this year because a lot of them are happening online. So if you're interested to see what other events are taking place as part of the week, you can visit cyberscotlandweek.com. And if you follow the hashtag on Twitter throughout the week, hashtag CSW2021, you'll see lots of people kind of getting involved. So I'm excited that the live lesson today is part of the week. I hope you're enjoying it, and I'll be back shortly. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Kirsty. In fact, we've had some tweets come in. Ms. McAlpine over at Sterling, she's thanked us for creating an avatar that matches her hair colour. So, yep, we have listened to your feature request and implemented it, and we're glad you're pleased with it.
And Cyber Mum Cheryl, who has got two sons who are at St Columba's, I can see that you're taking part as well, and I hope they are working through the activity as well. So I think at this stage, Daniel, we strongly suspect the leak is genuine. We've got enough evidence here that we think it's a real leak and we think it's affecting hundreds of people, but we have no idea how it happened, so we need to start investigating this. And one of the reasons it might have happened is because of a virus. So malware is malicious software like viruses, trojans and worms, and this software can be used by cyber criminals to secretly transfer files. So what we need you to do is we need you to investigate if it was malware, if it was a virus that actually caused this file to be leaked.
Yeah.
So we're going to be using...
Yep. And one of the things that the tools that we've got is antivirus or anti-malware software, and it can scan computers to try and detect these viruses. And the way that it does that is it has a database of itself that has a sort of all the threats, all the known virus files, what they look like, the signatures they're called, and it looks through your computer and tries to match to see if it can find a match for any of these viruses. So what you need to do now is follow the instructions, and you'll need to update the virus definitions because they need to be kept up to date because viruses change all the time. And then after we've done that, we then need to do a deep scan of the whole software estate, the whole Tobermory Telecom estate, and find out, just to make sure there's no viruses present.
Daniel, as cybersecurity sort of experts, we know it's important to use antivirus. We know that we should be doing this type of thing regularly, but I wonder how often people actually use antivirus software. How often do they do scans?
Yeah, I'd be really interested to know too. So because of that, we've asked you. So let's have a look and see what you've said so we can bring up those results now. And I think we're just waiting for some more people to fill that in. So maybe we'll come back to that question in just a moment.
It's a bit even at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got a definitive answer at that point yet. So antivirus, Daniel, we know that this is something that we should be running regularly on our computers, but do any of us really have the time to sit and be like, oh, once a month I need to remember to do this, or once a week? Probably not.
Yeah, so in fact a lot of newer antivirus products are great because they just work quietly in the background, continuously scanning. And that's what the Tobermory Telecom's system does do, but it doesn't scan every single file in the system. It knows some files won't change very often, so it won't look at them so often. And it also might not be keeping these definitions up to date, so that's why we're manually forcing it, just to be sure. So that's what we're doing right now.
It's brilliant. I can see quite a few people starting to run that software update now.
I can see that Emma's and Fraser and Libby and Ewan and James, they've all managed to identify the antivirus software that Tobermory Telecoms are using. That's great. That's what we need to do first. We need to find the application so they know what that looks like.
Fantastic. Let's bring up the poll again, Daniel. I think more people have been able to submit their answers. Oh, a good mix there.
So the most popular option is having it continuously scanning. That's great. I think that's the best option. You don't have to think about it. It's always running. It's always keeping you protected. What else is interesting?
I'm concerned that some people have said never. So yeah, you should be making sure that all your machines have got some version of antivirus software installed on them already. So you want to be making the most of that as well, like making sure it's run, checking it's turned on and working as well. It's one of the most important ways anyone, not just massive companies like Tobermory Telecoms, but even us as home users should be using.
Yeah, imagine if everyone had antivirus, Craig. Like, viruses just wouldn't really be much of a problem because they wouldn't have a chance to spread.
We all had antivirus. Yeah.
It would hit one person and it just wouldn't spread to any other computers. That would be great. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Thank you for answering that question. In fact, shall we take a look at the activity feed and see how people are getting on with doing their scans?
Well done, Aaron from the James Young High School. You told us that answer to the question. And Aaron from St Columba's, you've successfully updated the antivirus software. Thank you very much.
Yep, so has Jonathan at Stirling. They've also updated these definitions. So has Ariana at St Columba's.
Tony's worked out that the leak wasn't caused by malware, and Jacob as well seems to think the same thing too.
That's very interesting, actually. Let's see if other people have come to the same conclusions here.
A lot of people coming through here.
Yeah.
Yep, Emma thinks it's not caused by malware.
Caitlin too. But I can see a lot of people are still updating and doing their scans, so let's wait until we've got all the results in before we jump to conclusions here.
Yeah, we don't want to be too, as you say,
Still not in focus, Craig.
That's all right.
I'm sure it'll come back.
You just have a nice soft filter on you, Daniel.
Yeah.
What we should do then is, while people are continuing to run those scans, I think Kirsty's probably had another question in. If you can ask her if she's available to answer that.
Yep. Kirsty, are you happy to take the question? Super. Over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a question here asking about what subjects that they should study at school if they want to go into cybersecurity. And that's a great question. So for a forensic computer analyst, you can develop kind of high-level technical skills through a number of different routes. And the first place to start when you're studying at school is to choose computing classes. Physics and maths are also good subjects to consider when you're at school. There's also lots of different entry-level courses that can help you with your career through colleges or universities. So you could contact the college or university or the training provider to see kind of what skills, to check what requirements you would need to get into that course. And there are universities and college based all across Scotland, so there's lots of opportunities there to consider this as a career route. There is relevant qualifications, so you could do levels SCQF levels 4 to 6, and that can secure an entry level role where it is more than possible to learn more on the job and get experience from that. So there's lots of different training routes that you can take. I hope you're getting a good flavour of it today within the lesson, and it's something that you're excited about. You can find more information about studying this as a career as well on the digitalworld.net website. It's great, it's got lots of routes there that you should look into. But I hope that answered your question in the meantime. Thanks for that, and it's now back over to Craig and Daniel.
Thanks, Kirsty. We've been having a lot more people reporting to us that they don't think it's because of a virus. Their deep scans come back saying there's no viruses found, and because they've just updated their definitions, I think they can be quite confident that it's not a known piece of malware sitting on their systems doing this. So I think that's maybe grounds to move on. And malware is something that we do need to take seriously. It's why we checked it first. But actually, it's not that often that data breaches are caused by viruses or worms. And in fact, an American telecoms company, Verizon, who's not the one we're talking about today, but they did some research last year in 2020, and they learned that only 17% of data breaches were caused by viruses or other malware. So let's think about how else this could have happened. I think there's lots of different other possibilities that we need to explore, and I think it's time that we move on and we start looking at those.
Thanks for those of you who are taking part and joining in. I know that Guardian Lindsay is playing along at home, and we've got 2 young defenders from Presswick Academy, so thank you for tweeting us as well. If you're enjoying today's lesson, I forgot that we're broadcasting live through YouTube, Daniel, so I should say you should like the video below, You should subscribe to us so that we can keep doing these sort of sessions in the future, and you'll be up to date with the next time we do a live lesson as well. So if it wasn't a virus, Daniel, that's caused this, maybe it was an employee, maybe it was someone who actually worked at the company, because most data breaches are actually caused by employees, and they either do something by accident, so like they lose a USB stick or they leave a laptop unattended, but sometimes you can get rogue employees as well, someone who wants to do something to sort of harm the business, or they're trying to take advantage of the business in some way as well. So our employees are a big risk because, we do trust them, but they do have access to a lot of sensitive files as well. They don't need to hack in. Could someone do it? Could someone be motivated to do that type of thing?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting possibility, and in fact, that is how most data breaches happen. It's a human kind of at the center of it, like whether it is someone doing it deliberately, maliciously, with sort of intent of releasing the data, or it's a mistake, or maybe they're being blackmailed or something like that. I think this is something we need to look into.
I've got some insight here from some people who've told us what they think, Daniel. Ariana, hello Ariana, you think that they might share information and gain money from it? Yeah, so that could be a reason. Sam says to get money. Yeah. RD says to share data with competitors. Yeah, again, could be a good thing. Eva says, I don't know.
We don't know either.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why we're asking.
That's why we're asking you. Exactly. Bonnie has said because maybe they work with someone that wants that information. Rory says they're a mole for an opposing company. Oh, these are all very dramatic reasons.
I can see that David's also said that they might want to sabotage the company or its customers. So that's another really interesting potential option that could be.
Richard, who I guess from this answer here might know a bit about this, has described it as end user stupidity. End user stupidity. Yeah, a lot of times that happens as well. People doing it, not even realising they've sent an email to the wrong place. Exactly. Yeah.
And Neve and Dawn have both said that they think it might be because they're getting paid for it or because of sort of money reasons. Yeah, these are all brilliant suggestions. Thank you very much for suggesting them. Rebecca's going to have a tough time in her hands whittling down what happened here.
Exactly, and these would definitely be good, Daniel, in terms of if you were writing a dramatic thriller or something. We've got about 50 plot lines here as to why someone might have done it.
Yeah, Rebecca's been chatting to Ashley in HR actually to try and find out what's up here, and we've actually there's a few things that have been going on actually in the background here. Maybe we should check the activity log in a second. But
yeah, go for it.
But what's been happening is we've been given a copy of the log file over at Tobermory Telecom that keeps a record of every time someone uses this database. So whether that's they just open up and read it, whether they write to it, they change the information, or also whether they copy it. So this is a really useful piece of evidence that we've got, because we can basically see everything that's been going on. If someone has copied it, it's going to be in this. It's going to be in the log. It's got to be.
So by following the instructions on the screen, you're going to go through those logs and try and work out, has something suspicious been happening? Has a user account being used to maybe access the database that shouldn't, or copy it, or transfer it, or do one of these things? So follow those instructions on the screen and see if you can see anything interesting in the logs.
Yeah.
Maybe bring up the activity log.
Craig, there's one account that has actually copied the database out of work hours.
Okay.
In the time frame that Rebecca thinks the leak happened. That's really
that is
concerning.
really suspicious then. Yeah, that's like, we wouldn't expect that someone should be able to access. And how close was that to when the actual leak happened, do we think?
It was in the period of hours. Like Rebecca gave us a time frame that we think it happened between, I think, like in the evening on a Thursday.
So we should try and find out, well, who does that username belong to them? That's what we should try and find out next.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca's on the case, Craig. She is ahead of us. She has spoken to HR already, and she's given us a transcript of our conversation.
She's right in there with HR, isn't she? No messing about.
No, straight to HR, straight to Ashley. And Ashley has said that this account, it belongs to someone called Anne McAndrew. Okay, so let's bear that name in mind because it might come up again.
Anne McAndrew.
Anne McAndrew.
That was the account, right?
But the account's not there anymore.
Well, why would it have been deactivated?
Precisely. Some of you have been sending in some of your thoughts or ideas on what's going on here. Like, why is this username that was here on Thursday and copied the database isn't there anymore? What's going on? So Gordon has said that the culprit is trying to hide the evidence of the crime.
Yep.
Ben and Aidan have said so that they can't be tracked. These are good suggestions.
Gregor said they're very sus and they're trying to eliminate the evidence to cover their tracks, says Declan. Erin thinks someone maybe lost the USB. Well, it could be that, but I think it, that might have been related, but I think that the evidence is pointing somewhere else.
Yeah. Mrs. G's got an interesting suggestion. No longer works there.
That would be a reason.
That would be a very reason. Yeah, and in fact,
Tony thinks the person's been sacked. Thanks, Tony, for sending that in.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a very possible option here, because they're not with the company anymore.
So maybe, what do you think, Daniel? Should we move on to the next phase of this investigation?
Yeah, I think we could move on to that. Shall we take a look at the activity, if you can see?
Yeah, show me the activity log. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah. I think it's time to move on to this next phase now. Hi to Gregor, who's just joining us from McLaren.
Thanks for speaking to HR for us.
Yeah, there's a lot of people looking and finding suspicious things here, so I think we need to find out, what's going on here. We've been sent a letter of dismissal, actually. That it sounds very dramatic, Craig. Here, there was this dispute about pay, and then there was an argument that turned nasty, and then Anne apparently poured hot coffee over laptops and printers, and that's why she got dismissed.
That definitely must be against company policy.
Yeah, there's several. I think the hot beverages in the workplace policy was breached there. But what this all resulted in was her getting dismissed. So she was sacked. And her last day was the 5th of February, Craig, which is the Friday. And that's the day after the database was copied.
Right. Okay.
That's
very interesting. I want to investigate this further. Right. Okay. I want everyone to get access to Anne's email box right now, basically. Like, we need to progress this investigation. I think we're narrowing it down. We need to take decisive action. I want you to go through Anne's emails. I know some of you might have now had that loaded up on your screen, and I want you to look through the inbox and I want you to look through the outbox and see if you can find a suspicious email. See if you can find something that might really nail it down as showing that someone who has had access to their account is doing something, perhaps leaking something that they shouldn't be. So do that just now.
Keep going through these emails. I think there's a lot to get through, but sift through them. Emails can tell you so much about what's going on here, and because it's a work email, we can look at it. That's something that the cybersecurity team have access to, and you know, there's only so many ways that if she has copied the database that she could get it outside into the real world. How would she get it to the Tobermory Warriors? Well, email's one of the options that she has. I mean, she could also like send it by the mail or something, but you know, there's only so many options. Shall we?
Great. So I can see that a lot of you are now going through those emails. Maybe bring up the activity log for a minute, Daniel. Wow. Dylan, you've read Anne's emails and found something suspicious. David, thank you very much, from Stirling. Hannah from St Columba's, you found some. Daniel, we're getting a lot of suspicious emails being found here.
We're getting a lot of reports of actually, I think, the same email coming in.
Okay, so let me think about it this way. Daniel, lots of people have been submitting evidence to us, and there's some sort of suspicious email that a lot of you are asking for us to look at in more detail. I don't know, can you bring up that email for us, Daniel?
Yeah, in fact, I've just been sent it. Let's look at it together. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, so what's this? It's an email sent to drop at PalomoriWarriors.onion. Hello, here's the customer database.
Group.
It's a fresh copy. Make Tobermory Telecom papers attachment. Here you go. Craig, look at this. It's a message. It's sent to the Tobermory Warriors. That's the cyber criminal gang. There's a file attached to the email. It looks like a copy of the database. This is it. This is what we've been looking for. You've found the vital piece of evidence. You've spotted the data leak. This is the leak. It's Anne.
Well done. You did it. Well done. Congratulations. Now, our digital forensics team are going to have to look into this in more detail, but you've done it. You've spotted that data leak. You've worked these things out. So today you discovered that data leak and you confirmed that, you know, it really was a data leak. It was a genuine one from our company. And then you used digital forensics techniques to try and assess the severity of the situation. And you checked the logs to try and identify that suspicious activity, and you followed that evidence trail, and it's led you to uncovering this incriminating email. Well done. You've managed to find that data leak.
Yeah, thanks so much. Well done for investigating this with us. We've got one more task for you to do, and that's to share your feedback with us about what it is that you did today. While you're doing that, let's see if, I think Kirsty's definitely got a couple more questions, so shall we speak to Kirsty, Craig?
Get one more question from Kirsty and then we'll get ready to wrap things.
Yeah, okay, over to Kirsty.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had lots of great questions coming through, and I've got one here that's asking what kind of job this would be if you were to choose this as a career. So from the lesson today, the career that fits in for this is a forensic computer analysis role. So that's when you would be assisting the police with a major investigation or recovering valuable stolen data on behalf of a client. And there's three kind of key roles or responsibilities that you would likely do within this role. So firstly, you would maybe be investigating and reporting on data breaches or other hacking attempts. You might be recovering online and computer-based evidence for use in criminal trials. And the third one is understanding the latest cybercrime techniques and developing new counter strategies in response. So those are some of the kind of roles that you would be looking at and responsibilities within that role. And the average salary for that one is a really good one. It's £36,400, which is much more than the average salary for someone in Scotland. So yeah, there's lots of highly paid roles within this area in cybersecurity. So this might be a career that you want to consider. And there's lots more information about all the different types of roles that you can do within cybersecurity on the digitalworld.net website. So do check that out. But for now, thank you very much for that question. And it's back to you, Craig.
Well, thank you very much, Kirsty. Thank you everyone for your time. We've got one more session coming up soon, next month, 17th of March, and you're going to use cybersecurity skills to defend one of Scotland's most important historical sites, Stirling Castle. So that's going to be really exciting. We hope
that is going to be. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, me neither. We hope to see you then. In the meantime, if you could like and subscribe to this YouTube video, that would be brilliant. That means you'll find out when the next one is going to be live. But until then, it's bye.
Well done, Daniel. You've done a great investigation here. I just wanted to say thank you to you too. We're always facing these cyber attacks from all over the country, but having hundreds of you taking part in helping us solve it just makes it so much more easier for us to do it as well.
Yeah, totally. Also, thanks to Rebecca Reid, who's been tying together this investigation from the Tobermory Telecom side. She's been really busy. She's not been able to be on the stream today, but just wanted to give her a shout out as well. But
really,
until next time, I think our investigation is closed for now, Craig, isn't it?
That's it. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time.
See you. Bye bye.